Okay, we're good. And then I'm just going to introduce the book for people who are watching along on YouTube. It's The Women Could Fly by Megan Giddings. It's really, really good. So this was Gwen's book choice. So, Erin, did you want to start with your favorite quotes?
Yeah, I had a couple. I know everyone seemed like they had a lot from this book. So I guess I'll just start with one. And then I guess if I have any that haven't been mentioned, I can always circle back to it. But one that kind of resonated with me was when she was talking with her dad, and she said, he told me my life would be easier if I started finding ways to make my brain have soft, comfortable places I would come back to. I know this is weird, but sometimes when you're older, the worst place in the world to be might be your own brain. And I thought, yeah, that really resonated with me because sometimes I feel like that can happen to everybody. Like, you just want your thoughts to quit and you can't make them stop. So
I
that was
love
mine.
that one. I like it when it me in the fields too, because I
Yeah.
get that sometimes too. I think everybody does. It's part of being human, but I love that one. How about you, Jamison?
There we go.
I'm
Let's see. Let's see. Give me just a
totally fine.
I'm getting used to my ebook instead of a real book, and I bookmarked this one because I liked it so much. So,
There are some really, really good ones in this one.
it's when she's talking about having to register and like when she's filling out the paperwork, she says it's bullshit, but she says, but I also kept thinking of every man I had ever known, the ones from high school who were now in jail or had DUIs or posted pictures on social media of their assault rifles. The men I would see at campus parties where at least two women would discreetly point to them and say, watch your drink when he's around. The men who would walk too close behind me when I was going home alone at night, who made me grip my keys in my hand, made me reach in my purse and pretend I had a canister of pepper spray in my palm. None of them had to sacrifice their privacy like this.
Oh,
And
Jameson,
it
that
was
hits
just so
so
like,
hard.
yeah, I mean, it's even if you took the magic out of it and you took that quote out of that book, it's still so relevant to what women do every single day.
Yes. Little tidbit of information. Jameson made me my own rainbow unicorn with a very sharp horn that I could carry in my hand when I walked to my car, so that I could be safe. So I still have it, and carry it in my purse. So thank you for that. I'm not shocked you chose that quote. Emily,
And if
did you?
anyone wants one, I will send you one. I do not have unicorns, but I have kitty cats. So if anyone would like one, I'll send one to you.
Yeah, they're so easy. Yes, yes, it looks very similar to that, Emily. Of course you have one. Of course you do. It's so wonderful to see you. I'm so glad you're here. Did you have any quotes?
I think there are so many. Like I didn't jot any down because I usually listen to the book. But no, the one that Jameson was actually reading was one that stuck out
Yes, so
definitely. But
good.
I will admit, you guys, I am like so far ahead where we sure we're supposed to read
I saw your
because
comment.
I
It's
just kept
okay.
going. So yeah,
It
so I'm
happens.
gonna try and like dial it back because some of the questions I'm like, yeah, I know the answer to those.
Yeah, I that has happened to me accidentally a couple of times, so I totally get it. So does Aaron. So I just try to put in these little tabs that I have in my book. But if you're listening to it on Audible, you can get really lost. So when Judy just got the book. When did you have any favorite quotes?
My one quote that I really took something apart from was when women are more regulated than guns. They were at a protest, and that was just really reminded me of where we are today. So that's about it.
Unfortunately. Thank you. Karen, how about you?
Okay, I had this is in chapter one, when she's talking about her mom had pointed out the loss to her, and I like the one that said it seemed like that made it even easier to oppress two groups of women and anyone who did not conform to cisgender standards. she believed that most of what people believed was magic was actually just a way to wash out the accomplishments of women and make their hard work small. So
Yeah.
again, I feel that's, how we're still treated in society. Um, so that resonated with me.
It did me as well. And I think that is a pertinent ongoing theme that we have right now that is so at our precipice of what's coming. Oh, I'm glad you picked that quote. It was one of mine. So thank you for sharing. How about you, Melissa?
Okay. So far, a lot of these I already have. I feel like I'm quoting and highlighting so many quotes in this. Um, I'm debating between two. I really liked Why Are You Afraid of Women? Or Why Are Women More Regulated Than Guns? That one really stuck with me. And I had another one, but I know there's so many people to get through, so I don't want to steal someone else's.
No, go ahead. Please share.
All right, I have people as they do with everything strange and beautiful, and inexplainable, find a way to destroy it. That's one of my favorites as well. There's so
I
many
loved
good
that
ones.
too. I loved that too. Oh my gosh, yes. How about you, Nikki? I know this is your first meeting, so you may not have known to like hold on to some quotes. Do you have anything that stood out to you?
I actually did. I was browsing through the Facebook and I seen people were pulling quotes, so I went ahead and tried to keep an eye out.
Yeah.
The one that was just said was one I had saved, but also sometimes when you're older, the worst place in the world might be your own brain. As somebody who is late diagnosed ADHD and depression, anxiety, that really struck with me.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think it haunts us all.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. How about you, Udi? I know that you might be a little bit behind, but if is there anything that popped out to you? And which rats are we seeing tonight? We have to introduce them real quickly.
This is Yzma.
Oh,
She's the one with the Y.
oh my gosh, how cute,
Yeah.
tiny.
They and then Timu, she ran back, but here she is.
Oh, oh my gosh, they're getting so big.
Dude, I know they eat so much right now. They're such chonkers.
They're growing babies. Okay, so let's hear your quotes. I love the rats. We always have to feature them. Go ahead.
So when she was talking to her dad and she said, like, I deserve to be angry about these things. There is nothing wrong with knowing you've been treated poorly for no good reason and wanting to be treated better. That really hit me hard because I've been struggling with that a lot and I know I need to be treated better, you know?
Oh
And
yeah.
then you guys have named pretty much everything else I wrote down.
Oh, Robin, I just got your message. Are you able to talk? I don't know if you're able to talk. I know we can't see you. She may have stepped
Yep,
away.
I'm here.
Oh, yay, 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 yay. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know if I had two quotes, and I don't know if anyone said them yet because I was a little late. Sorry about that. One was from it says I read an article once that claimed that the average man became 50% happier when he was married. The average woman became 33% more discontent than when she was single. And I was like, I believe it.
So I thought that was very fascinating, and I looked up that statistic with lesbian marriages, and do you know it's not the same?
I
Like
can imagine it would not be.
lesbian marriages are tended to be much happier than hetero, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
I thought it was really interesting. So yeah,
Yeah.
that also hit me. I've been married to both. And yeah,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
I had looked up that statistic prior to marrying my husband.
Yes,
So
it's Josh, right?
yeah.
Yeah, he's quirky and wonderful. Yeah, I
Yeah.
adore him.
He has his
Oh,
moments.
how
The
about
other
you?
one I had was and it's kind of long, but it's women bring people together. We do the intricate embroidery of living, childcare, cleaning, emotions, caretaking, because society wouldn't exist without our doing it, and we're better suited for it.
Oh,
And they would talk about men's roles, the big things they do, like work and organizing and insert giggle opening jars. And just like the fact that like that's what you hear from the older women,
yeah.
like in this book and in life, and just like that whole thing of like this is what we're suited to, and I'm like,
Right? Yeah, there is. You guys have picked out totally different quotes than I did. So I'm really, really intrigued. How about you, Stephanie? Did you have any? I know, first let's preface this with we both have lost our mom, and unfortunately, her mom is so much like my mom, it's ridiculous. So I know their relationship is similar to you and your mom. So this is a super sensitive book for Stephanie, and I'm so amazed that you showed up. I told you like 4 times it's okay to set it out, but yay for being here. So I just want to hear, is there anything you'd like to share? But I just want to be gentle with you.
Oh my gosh, that wasn't working. So I loved everybody else's quotes. Those were some of my favorites. But yeah, I'm probably gonna focus more on the grief ones. Because this one on chapter 8 or page 83, paragraph 2, let's see. They say so many people find grief tiresome or indulgent or contagious. I don't tell people about my mother anymore because I feel like most of them are thinking, shut up about your dead mom.
Yep, yep, because it reminds people of their own immortality
It
and their
does.
own discomfort. And people just have a really hard time sitting with that or the thought of losing their own mom. I get
Yep.
that. I have that experience as well. Yeah, very valid. How about you, Tiff?
I think Tara's technically next.
She is Tara. I'm so sorry, honey. Thank you, Tiff, for catching that. You're
Just in
such
case
a
I was going to
good
take all
co-pilot.
your quotes, Tara.
I
I know
appreciate you.
you guys have taken all my quotes. No, so I think similar to what other people have said, the other one that I had was let it not happen again. Women need equal protection and security in the face of the law. Let it not happen again. And again, like others have said, I feel like this is real life right now for us. And so it's just very like eye-opening, like, oh yeah, we're going through that right now.
hmm I think it's interesting that you all have picked up on that so much. It was different for me. It was more about character and the relation I had to the character. And so, of course, one brought it to my attention. She was causing her to have like bad dreams and stuff of what's coming and things like that. So, I think I've become numb to it. I feel like we've been in a dystopian for since 2020. How about you, Tiff?
So I really I related to the relationship that she has with her mom. It's very, very much like the relationship I have with mine. Like it's like at times you like want that love, but then other times you are thinking about how it's like damaged you over time. So that's a couple of the quotes that stuck with me. So like there's the one quote that says, my mother's feelings were always a sudden downpour to me. I was always soaked with the intensity of them. If she was upset, my teeth were clenching. If she was crying, my eyes were watering. No one else has ever made me feel that way. And I relate to that really hard because I kind of feel that way too when I think about my mom and like growing up. That was kind of like she pushed a lot of her emotions on me in that way.
hmm
And then the other one that I had was um, my father told me once it wasn't true that people get more conservative over time. He said they just get tired, and it's easy when you're tired to be agreeable.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's very true. Wow. Yeah, I didn't pick up on that one, but that hits home a lot. So for me there were a couple and I kind of get the feeling this is a lot like Handmaid's Tale, like I can get a lot of connection to it. But for me, her relationships that she has are so similar to mine, and I'm just wondering if because her trauma is similar. But there was one where she was with Preston, the Party City, And she says the sudden emotional intimacy between us felt delicious and repulsive. I wanted to stay the night and kiss him goodbye in the morning. I wanted to drive away and block his number on my phone. That is how I feel about anytime anybody gets close to me. I don't know whether I want to get in my car and drive until I don't recognize anything, or I want to let my guard down and be intimate. And I think it's because of the loss. You're scared of losing it. And then her dad, he's grieving so bad. This is very similar to my situation with my stepdad. He's grieving so bad that he can't see that she's grieving too. Like, she lost her mom. I know he lost his wife, but like, he prioritizes his own grief over hers and disregards it. But the quote that I picked was, but there were always times when I thought about he was never emotionally there for me. I couldn't tell him about the way kids told me my mother was a witch, that I was disgusting and evil like her. He never noticed or seemed to acknowledge that I too was depressed, and how he never said anything to make me feel better about the Bureau of Witchcraft investigation that happened after my mother's disappearance. So his constant disregard for her grief, I think, is very, very important, because not only did she lose her mom, she kind of lost him emotionally too. So what we'll do now is I'm going to go ahead and pull up the questions on our Cozy Corner, and we'll go through those. And then I have a couple. So we will start with, okay, we'll start with Melissa's question. And what do you think happened with Josephine's mother? And we'll start back with Tiff, because we always do the reverse alphabet.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't think, I don't know. I feel like the logic wants to lead me that she's a witch and that she has like, magic abilities. Like, I feel like that's the logical road that I'm going on. My dog is like losing it because of
It's the
the
wind.
wind.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because, and I can't quite figure out like what her relationship is with Joe. Like, she seems like she's in one of those situations where she can't live like in the world she's in. Like, the world that she's in is so awful for her that she just doesn't want to be part of it.
I don't
So
blame her.
yeah, that's my thought is like, I mean, I feel like she probably is a witch, but I think that she ran away because she was like, I don't want to live in this world the way that it is right now.
Yeah, that's interesting. I have a little feeling of that too. How about you, Tara?
I also don't know, but I kind of think what Tiff just said, like maybe just running away because it's too difficult.
Yeah, yeah. Stephanie, did you get that feeling, or do you think she's gone? Do you think maybe she was murdered, or?
I'm not sure, but I have been kind of leaning towards I think that she is magical and she's just scared and she like the mom she just didn't want to have that around her daughter. Maybe she thought that it was just a bad influence and she didn't want her to become like her and isolated. Well, I mean, I guess she was very outgoing, but she also liked going in the woods and doing gathering herbs and mushrooms. But I think that she's just trying to save her daughter from the life that she has.
I think you're right. I think there's something to that, like a protective. How about you, Robin?
So I think the opposite. I think she is not a witch, but I think that what Tiff said about like she is struggling to live in the world that she lives in. I think that she is um like she's so attuned to the struggles that she as a like person of color and as a woman is dealing with, and like she doesn't want to watch her daughter deal with those things. um
What
and
do you
like
think happened to her?
I think she left. I think she left. I think maybe she left and then maybe something else happened to her. I don't know if she maybe did planned on coming back, and then something else happened. But like, I think she just left because she couldn't watch her daughter grow up in the world that is the way that it is.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think it's interesting. I also thought maybe she's not a witch because there's constant denial of it, but I think maybe she knows that it does exist and maybe she knows that her daughter might be one. I don't know. That's an interesting take though. How about you, Udi?
I have no idea, but I think that there is magic in her lineage, and I think that maybe she's suppressing it and it's gonna come out eventually. That's kind of like my thought process into way like where it's going. Because of all the deer and stuff, she was present with all that, you know? So that's I'm hoping she's magical. That would be kind of cool to see where it goes from there, from that point of view.
Yes, I agree. Nikki, do you have any thoughts on where you think the mom is, or is she here, gone?
I don't think we've seen the last of her yet. I have a feeling that we'll see her at some point again.
Yeah.
That's just a feeling I get from it, especially with like Joe is obviously showing signs of something magical, and I'm curious to see where that goes. But yeah, I don't think we've seen the last of her mom yet. I think she's going to come back in some way.
I think so too. How about you, Melissa?
I have this feeling that she was taken or imprisoned and being kind of monitored, that she is magical. And maybe the government or, whoever's kind of monitoring these women had suspicions and is like, maybe she's just in a cell or a testing center, something monitoring her.
That's very possible. That's very possible in that society. I think you're right. That would be totally feasible. Karen, did you have any gut instinct?
Um, I don't know yet, but I have a feeling that she will come back. I agree with others that somehow she will come back.
She'll resurface in some way. Okay. How about you, Jameson?
I think she's on the island. I think
Even say it.
I think that she's a witch and she's on this island. It, that might be coming from outside of the book. My dad used to work on the Great Lakes, and he used to tell me stories about this island that would show up randomly. It wasn't always there, and I don't know. He was very superstitious and believed in all that stuff. So maybe I'm letting that kind of like filter in. But I think she's on the island, and I think that she went there because she knows how hard it's going to be for Joe to grow up in the world where she is, and she's
Yeah.
went there to make a place for her. I don't know what's there. I don't know if there are other people. I don't know, but I think her mom is on the island.
I think if they would have pronounced her dead sooner, they dragged this out so they didn't get the will instructions for Joe. So I think she would have known by now, because that's where she's going. I think you're onto something. I think it's like kind of like a Bermuda Triangle thing. Like it only comes up every once in a while and she can't get back. So she wants her to come to her. I don't know, but I love that your dad worked with the lakes, and I love the symbolism in here about what each lake represents in the book.
Mhm.
That was a good quote for that. Yeah, that was my thought. Gwen, how about you?
I also think the island has something to do with it. I think that either she's going to be given specific directions on how to find her mom from the island. But I really think her mom is alive, and I think her mom is a witch. Whether she is a magical witch or a spell witch or some kind of a witch, I think that she's definitely a witch. And Joe is definitely a witch as well.
I think
She sees too many things.
I think you're right on that. I think she's some kind of herbal witch. Her mom is the way that she works with different types of plants and stuff. But I don't know if she embraces it. Also, Melissa's theory may tie into ours as well. Like, what if she went to this island and she's in prison there? Is also another thought. Emily, how about you? I know you've gone a little further.
I
Um,
have. So I know the answer, but I will, yeah. So from the beginning of reading it, where my brain was prior to getting past where we're supposed to be, was that her mother, I'm with Jameson, that, mom's alive. Mom went to this island. There are too many things as far as Joe goes for her to not be a natural born witch. You figure she's seeing deer in her attic. Somebody had to manifest that. She's seeing people and creatures come out of trees and things in the forest. So somebody had to manifest that, or be able to see it. You have to be somewhere within that plane. And I agree. I think her mom is a green witch. um I don't know beyond that what, her abilities would be, or if she was snatched and taken to the island, or if she goes to the island of her own free will, or what. But the
Yeah.
other thing is that makes me think that is like, well, like I said in the chat, the instructions in the will, you will go on this day, and if you don't go that day, you have to wait 7 years. You can't go again till 7 years. And her mom continually told her the story of the island that it shows up every 7 years.
Yeah.
So it's a little suspicious there.
Also, the money she gave her, seven is in the money. And I also
Uh-huh.
think it's cool that her like one of her lucky numbers is 13 because that's my lucky number. So
Mine too.
yeah, oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's right.
7 and 13. Those are my luckies. So,
Yeah.
but yeah.
That's really fascinating. I think because of the will, she went on her own accord. That's my only but I don't know what happened
Yeah.
to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Now, Aaron, you're famous for knowing you have really good gut feelings. You do. You always shake your head, but you do. Did you get something like a vibe?
Well, first of all, maybe I missed it. Did we find out like what happens if someone is found to be a witch? I know she talked about like what happened before, in the past history, but now in this present tense, what
They're very
happens?
regulated. So
Oh, that's it. They just okay.
they're kind of like I get the feeling it's kind of like a sex offender thing. So like you know how you can't do certain things and it's kind of
Uh-huh.
like you are always that's always prefaced with everything that you do. Like they can't even write an email without it saying that they're
Okay.
a witch or whatever. Hmm.
Now I remember. I remember now. Okay. Yeah, I think that she is a witch. And remember that she had that like terrifying phone call. I feel like she was about to be found out and she was afraid. So she left on her own free will so she wouldn't draw attention to her daughter because I think her daughter is also a witch. I think Joe's a witch. And I also think that because it said in there somewhere that like the time leading up to her leaving, like things started just going the right way for the mom. Like she won all that money and blah blah blah. I can't remember what else it said, but I feel like there was more that happened.
The dad was in an accident. He was hit and he did only had
Oh
like a
yeah, and
couch.
nothing. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Are
yeah,
you
I
do
think
you
she was using her witch powers to make all of that good stuff happen to prepare and like to prepare her daughter, I guess, for a future
That's
without
very,
her.
very. I'm really curious. So, like Emily said, the deer in the attic was
Mm-hmm.
manifested, and that's when the phone call came. Do you think like there's somebody that warned her that Joe is a witch? Like she's seeing like witchy things and she's able to apparate things. Do you think it's possible she left to like find a way to protect her daughter?
Oh yeah, very very much so. I
Yeah,
think she
very.
has to know Joe is a witch. Everybody would have to know. How else would that deer get in the attic? I mean, you'd think because they are so regulated and so afraid of witches, they would know. Like that just doesn't happen. But
That one I thought, people can see things. We can do weird things with our mind, but the little gnome that stunk so bad that reeked the car and made her like throw up, that to me was like, okay, she really came in contact with something. That to me solidified. And so Tiff had asked, do we think Josephine has magical abilities? And we can like thumbs up on this or thumbs down, but I think the consensus is that she may, like, because how do you feel, Robin? Do you think Joe has magical? You do think she, okay. And yeah, okay. I thought we all were on the same page with that. So we'll move on to Udi's. Do we think Joe will fall in love with Party City? Do we think he's already in love with her? And do you think he'll help protect her, possibly lie for her for a government status? And we'll start back with Aaron.
I think he would. I haven't really thought about it too much. I hope that it happens because I feel like she wants to be loved and like really feel real love. And he already said I feel like he already like alluded to the fact that they could be in a relationship if she wanted. So I feel like if she says yes, please help me, he would do it.
Yeah, okay. Uh-huh. I agree. Yeah, I have other feelings too. Emily, how about you?
I think there are already real feelings there, and he's the only one who really is recognizing it because he tries really hard with her. Like he's like, you could stay, like we could talk, like we could go out, we could, this could be something. And she views everything through that lens of, but does love really even exist if we have to get married in order to be kept, you know, under control? And so she doubts everything. She doubts whether or not her mother loved her father at all, ever. She doubts whether or not, she's lovable, whether or not she could love somebody, because it feels forced on her because she's trying to live within this constraints of the constraints of society and how they're set for her. So, but I think that she does have kind of real feelings for him, and that scares her. She's afraid anybody that she gets close to is going to abandon her because her mother abandoned her. In her mind, she's like, well, what did I do? She's like, left. Like, I get nothing. And so she lives for so long with that hope that her mom's alive. And so she is afraid to hope for love. But I don't know. I think she kind of does have real feelings for him. And even if it was like that lavender marriage type thing, is kind of how I view it. It's like a lavender marriage.
Right,
Um, Marry your gay bestie, just so everybody doesn't know.
right.
Um, Even if it is, I think that she feels like, would that really be so bad if we like each other? Because they like the same things, they have things in common, they enjoy each other's company, they make each other laugh. So I think she's kind of battling with that balance. But I think so. I think she's got real feelings.
Yeah, I think so too. Or she wouldn't have wanted to run. I think that
Yeah.
is proof enough. How about you, Gwen? Do you think they'll get together? Do you want them to get together? Like that sort of thing.
I think that she does like him. I don't know if she loves him. I think that she has some feelings for him, but I think that she feels almost forced to pursue this kind of a relationship, and she doesn't want to. If there wasn't this idea that you have to be married, if there wasn't this idea that she had to, I think she would have feelings for him. I think the forcing of it is causing her not to have feelings for him. I think if she had the freedom, she would have them. But the forcing is causing her not to. I think he 100% does. I think he would be loyal. I think he would hide her. I think he is down for her. Um, and I think in the story she may see that and may utilize that to her benefit.
I agree. I can see that too. Jameson, how about you?
I think he is in love with her. I think she cares about him. Um, I don't know. I just from a writer's standpoint, it's too easy. It's too easy for them to be together. It's too easy for that to be the solution. Um, I don't. I think she's gonna have to figure out some things. Like she said, I can't. How do I know if it's real or if I'm just doing this because it's expected? And she even says a couple times like about the people in their family photos, and she would rather, I forget what she said, she would rather be doing than be forced to take family photos like that. Like I don't think it's what she wants. I think it's what she thinks she has to do. And I just think it's too easy for them to end up together. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I was hoping somebody would say something. I think she's in love with Angie.
I,
Um,
I
I hope
think
she
so
ends up
too.
with her,
Yeah.
but that's just me. Because she's going to go with her to this island, and that would be somewhere that they could be together, and it would be okay. Karen, how about you?
I actually don't know yet. I haven't read far enough. I'm still a little behind on this reading, so I probably will skip this question.
absolutely, totally fine. I hope we don't spoil anything for
No,
you.
no, spoilers don't bother me at all.
How about you, Melissa? Do you have any theory?
I 100% agree with pretty much everything Gwen said. I think he does care for her greatly. He would marry her, take care of her. I think she cares for him, but she's not in love with him. I think that's coming. I think if she does go to the island or here in the future, she's going to meet someone and it's going to hit her and answer all those what if questions for
Mm-hmm.
her.
Yeah. I get like she has feelings, but I think they're obligatory right now. I think he's madly in love with her. I think the deal's done for him. Nikki, how about you?
No, I definitely agree with all that. Like Party City is definitely in love with her. You can tell that from the get-go. I definitely feel like her feelings, like you said, are obligatory. Absolutely. If they're being forced in a way. I think she wants to love him, but it's just not gonna happen. I'm very curious. Like I feel like in the end it's gonna be her and Angie, though. I feel like she is suppressing stuff there and trying to hide the fact of how much she still actually cares for her.
Yeah. I think if they would come down to it and they don't go to this island, I do think he would lie for them, like a lavender marriage, like Emily was kind of saying. I think he cares about her that much. Yeah, but my thoughts exactly, Nikki. How about you, Udi? This was your question, so I know you have some definite good feelings on it.
Yeah, I think he is madly in love with her, 100%. I do not think that she is in love with him. I do believe that she is going to pursue something with Angie, at least the way the flashbacks and everything seems like. Um, I think he would 100% lie for her and cover for them if she ever got into trouble. I think he'd go down that road to protect her.
I think so too. I think so too. I think the only thing that's held her back from loving Angie and letting herself be with her is because she needs a family member. She needs that one person. But if she were to find her mom, Angie wouldn't have to have that purpose anymore. So, Robin, how about you?
So I like to be the minority opinion on these
Yeah.
things. I do not think that Party City is loving her. I think that it is lazy. That's what I think. I think it's one of those, if we're not married by the time we're 30, let's just marry each other because we could tolerate each other kind of thing. I do think that there are feelings on both sides, but I think that he is saying, hey, I know that you need to get married and like it wouldn't be awful to wake up next to you every day and like obviously the sex is good, so let's just go ahead and do this anyway. Like that is my opinion. I do not think that she will marry him either, for both of the reasons that were given. One, I think that she does have feelings for Angie. I agree with you there. And I don't think, again, on the writer's point of view, it's lazy. It's a lazy plot arcing. I guess that
That's interesting. That's
that's
interesting.
that's my non-writers terminology there.
Yeah. No, no, I can see that. I can see that. Is the Emily giving a really good,
Yes.
yeah. Stephanie, how about you? Did you have a feeling about Party City, Preston? Do you think that they're going to become something, just even if it's obligatory, or do you think there's something else there?
I think he does love her, and I think she does really care about him, but she feels forced. But I think she does have a thing for Angie, like what everybody else was saying. I think they're gonna end up together, or or she's gonna be led down to another woman instead of Angie. But who knows what's gonna
Oh, yeah.
happen?
You're right. Tara, how about you?
I agree. I think that he has feelings for her. And I think her feelings are that like I'm being forced to do this. Um, I'm wondering if she's going to meet somebody else and there's going to be like this other third party that she ends up being with. And then it's like no, it's like um real feelings for her and not forced.
Hmm. Oh, that's interesting. I get the feeling if she could have some freedom in this island or whatever, she may decide just to stay single. It's been embedded in her that women are best alone. So I just wonder where that will go. Tiff, how about you?
Yeah, Robin, I agree with you that I think when he talks to her in the beginning and he's like, we could be something, like, and she's like what? And he's like, well, I mean, we could just like be something. That to me felt really just like, I don't know. It's like this is the first person I see, and I'm like, could I like this person? And he's like, yeah, I could like this person. So that's like kind of how I feel it is. And I feel like this, society obviously being anti-LGBT, um, it's probably why she is even in a conversation with him about it at the moment, because I think that she probably is leaning more towards Angie.
Mhm.
Yeah.
She makes the comment that when she found out she was bi, she was okay with being bi, but she was sick of being like the most complicated person because she doesn't like the fact that she's like the only African American person and that, everybody thinks her mom's a witch. And it's just so complicated that she just wanted to do something that felt normal. I think it's interesting that she's taken the path that she has. Emily asked a really excellent question that I'm really curious about what your guys' thoughts are. And it was, do we think that the mom didn't really wanted to be a mother? I mean, I have a default answer, but I'd really like to start back with Tiff and hear your opinion.
Yeah, I don't think that she wanted to be a mother, and I don't think she wanted to be married either.
No.
Because any time that you hear you get the description of her being discussed, it's like she's very much focused on her own thing and doing the stuff that she deems to be important. And it's almost like if her husband needs something or if Joe needs something, it's almost like an interruption from her doing the things that she's trying to do. So I
I
think
agree.
she's just I think she was just in that relationship because of society's rules and things like that.
Right, right, I agree. And let's not like lose the whole precipice that we are all still under societal conditioning too. Like as children, we start with the Disney movies of the happily ever after and the male and the female and the like we all still are under that illusion as well. So I just think we're not removed from it. Tara, do you think the mom, I think she loves her daughter, but I'm just real curious what you think. Do you think that that was like her intent for her life?
No, I think it's the same path that Joe is going down of that like forced marriage, kid, do all of the things you're supposed to do versus what you want to do. And so the like flashbacks or glimpses we're getting, I think, are her trying to be her authentic self that she cannot be in that world.
I
But
agree.
I don't think she really wanted to be a mom. Like, I think she wanted to do other things.
Yeah, yeah. I don't think she's a bad mother per se. But yeah, I do think she loves her. I think she loves herself more. Stephanie, how about you?
I definitely don't think that she wanted to be a mother. She seems very selfish. She has her own activities that she cares about more, but I think she does love her daughter, and I think that she would protect her. And I think that's why, she went away, but I just don't think she was ready to be a mom. She felt forced because of society, and she didn't want to break from that. So maybe that's why she decided to just run away to protect everybody and herself.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Robin, how about you?
So this is why I think she's not a witch, but why Joe might be, is because I think that she and Joe's dad are very much in that relationship of like Joe really loves her and she is married to him because she has to be married because she lives in this world. And like I think that um she got to a point where she was maybe starting to see Joe's manifestation. And that's why she was like, Just by the stuff that she talks about, like when she's telling, I can't remember exactly what it is, but like she's telling us there's a story about a witch, and Joe says, but when my mom tells it, she says, well, it's just because of the way that society is and the fact that she has to do this because of men. So, like, the fact that she's like adding this extra, like, this is crap that you have to live like this thing in it is like why she dipped.
Yeah, that makes sense. I'm following you on it. It does make
Yeah.
sense. It has the validity to it. I agree. How about you, Udi? Do you think the mom wanted to be like, do you think she resents Joe at all?
I don't think she resents her per se, but I do not think she wanted to be a mom. I
Mm,
think that she was forced into it because she's not interested in the same things. Like when the kids were growing up and having things to do, she was sitting there reading a book, not paying attention to what they were doing. She was in her own little world. She
mm,
wanted to do her own thing. So I agree, she was very selfish. And I don't think that she wanted to be a mom.
no, I don't get that vibe either. How about you, Nikki?
I don't know. I get the sense that like I don't think it's that she didn't want to be a mom, but she's definitely very self-centered in like her own world, what she wants to do, how she wants to do it. I don't know. I don't know if she's like I don't think I feel like she's the witch. And I'm wondering if like I know she wants to protect Joe because she obviously can tell that she is showing witchy stuff.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. Like I she's definitely extremely just self-centered in her ways.
Right. Yeah, I agree. I right there with you. I'm conflicted.
Yeah.
Melissa, are you able to talk?
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay. I just know you're enjoying your food. So,
Thank you.
do you think that she wanted to be a mom? Do you think that she resents her? Do you think maybe she wanted to be a mom of a child that wasn't a witch? That's also a question. Like we all know Joe has something. Maybe that's where this feeling is coming from. Maybe the detachment.
I'm wondering if maybe she did want children, but maybe on her own time frame. We're in a world where you kind of have to get on getting married quickly, having these children, and she didn't really get to be who she was or do things she wanted to do. And we're kind of seeing that selfishness
Yeah.
coming out now.
Absolutely, absolutely. That's also really good. Maybe she just wasn't ready at that time. Do we know the mom's age? Does anybody know? Is she? I don't know either. I know she leaves when Josephine is 13. And I just wonder, I don't know. I'm curious. I wonder if we'll find that out. Karen, how about you?
Um, I agree with most people that I think the mother either wasn't ready, um, or is very selfish in her life. So, um, and the little that I've read, I could see that she, you know, took more, I mean, that she spent more time on herself than she did her husband or Joe. So, especially when she was in public settings, like she basically ignored them and was just
Yeah.
talking about herself.
That's interesting. I think you're right, Emily. So if they would have met in her early 20s in college, she would have got pregnant around, 22. She might be like 35 when she left. And then Joe's how old now? Is she in her she almost 28. Oh, wow. Okay. So if she had okay. So her mom's older. Okay. All right. Curious about what's going on over there in the island. Jameson, how about you?
I kind of agree, but with like a little bit. I think, and maybe this is comes from being a young mom. Um, I think she thought she wanted kids,
Mhm.
and then when you do that when you're in your 20s, the reality of what that means is sometimes different than what you thought it was going to be. Um, this book was not hard for me because I've lost my mom. It is hard for me because I am constantly hoping that I have been a good enough mom for my kids because I was a young mom. I had my kids when I was 21 years old. And so I constantly think, I hope I did this right. And I hope I spent enough time. And I hope I did all of these things. And that's kind of the feeling I get, that she thought that this is what she wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why I think that maybe I don't know if she's a witch or not. I think that's where my feelings on her come from. Even if she is not a witch, she is doing this to protect Joe because she knows that Joe is.
Okay, yeah.
So
Oh,
I think she thought she wanted kids, and now she just has to do the right thing, because when you're 21 or 24 or 25, you don't always mean to be selfish, but sometimes it happens.
yeah, absolutely. Um, yeah, I didn't realize you were so young when you had them. In fact, I thought you were much younger. Um, I re yeah, I'll talk to you about that later. Gwen knows the story. It's funny. But go ahead, Gwen. Do you think she wanted Joe? Do you think that she is conflicted about it?
I think is conflicted about it. The part that made me wonder is I wonder what the grandma was. If the grandma was a witch, if maybe it skipped a generation and then Joe got it, and maybe if that's the mom isn't a natural witch, is more like that's where she got all her ideas of how to do the potions and where she's doing all this. And that's where I kind of wondering, and maybe that's maybe the issue she has with Joe because her mom was like that. So I kind of wonder in that area, like that's the kind of thing it sparked my interest.
Well, I know on her dad's side there's generational witches. I didn't know about her mother. You might be onto something with that. As somebody that comes from a long line of witches, it never skipped anyone. Even if they don't want to be, they are. So I think that's interesting. Emily, how about you? This was your question, and I have seen a lot of feedback from you, but
Yeah. So, I don't think her mother wanted to be a mother. I don't think that was necessarily her plan. Maybe not at that point in her that she became a mother. Um, I She's very selfish. She really just wants to do her thing. And I think that that shows a lot in those flashbacks. Like her mother dragged her to the woods with her, but her mother didn't really stay with her. So you're taking a 6, 7, 8 year old to the woods and you're going to go forage, but you're not watching her at all. And then when she tells you that this thing happens, you're like, basically, well, suck it up, bitch, you stink. Like that's
no, right.
basically
No,
her
and
attitude about it is you smell. I told you not to do it. And she's like not even listening to her.
no.
But she has this experience with the deer, and her mom is like basically acts like it didn't happen. And as time goes on, her mom changes the story and changes the story and changes the story. So she basically gaslights her daughter into that's not how that happened. That's not how that happened. Which are some of those things that people who are super not just selfish but self focused do.
Hmm.
My reality matters, right? Right. My version of the facts. So you just need to get on board to my version of the facts. So I think that's a big piece of it. I don't think she doesn't love her daughter or didn't love her daughter. I think that some people just aren't motherly,
No.
by nature. Some people just aren't, and they have to learn that. And so I think some of that like animosity that we see a little bit in those flashbacks is resentment because I don't know. I'm frustrated. I don't know how to be a mom. Like I don't know how to do this. Like you're stop. You're bugging me. Kind of attitude is what comes out. But I think too, like I did say in the chat, that I wonder if Joe's level and type of magic that we see around her is kind of all encompassing. So there's manifestations, there are visual, audio, there's like all of the senses types of manifestations. And she's able to manipulate certain things, whether she realizes it or not. She's able to, bring positivity to people. And her mother is an herbalist, and we know that those are learned skills. You can be a natural in the sense that things work really well for you, that you're a natural in dealing with them, but you still have to learn them. You have to learn the different herbs, and you have to learn what their properties are. So I think there's a little bit of jealousy there kind of
Maybe.
too, that Jo seems to have this natural propensity for magic that she doesn't even know she has, and her mother has to learn it.
That's interesting. Erin, how about you? Did you have any gut feelings on it?
I feel like she's definitely out of in her marriage out of obligation. Especially because like even Joe says the story that her dad tells is fake. It's not real. I can't remember what it was. Something about the song, and he said whatever. I don't remember. But even she says that the story her dad tells about he and her mom meeting is not real. So why is he telling a fake story? So I feel like that marriage was all out of obligation. Whether or not she wanted to be a mom, I don't know. I feel like what Jameson said made a lot of sense. Like,
Yeah.
sometimes, I mean, I'm not saying everyone's like that, but sometimes when you're a young person, you don't mean to be selfish. I even see a lot of difference in my parenting styles from, the kid I had in my 20s compared to the kid I had in my 30s. It's a lot different because
It
I'm
is.
older now, I don't know. But yeah, I don't know. What was the second part of the question? There was a
Do
second
you
part,
think that
right?
she has like a resentment towards her or like an ill will towards her because, she has some type of abilities?
I didn't think so at first, but I mean, the points that you guys are making makes a lot of sense. I thought the mom was a witch too, but now that you guys are saying it, like Emily said, maybe she just learned all of those skills and she sees Joe has these natural abilities, so she's jealous. I don't know. I don't know. Now my brain is working and I have all these like I can't wait to see what comes next because I have no idea.
So Robin put a really cool comment in the chat that says she says they bonded over the fact that their favorite song was a Nina Simone song. So that song that they bonded over is not a witch song, but Nina Simone is a witch and she's famous for the song I Put a Spell on You, which is what we walked
Oh.
down the aisle to. So um it it makes the but she feels like the dad may have fibbed about that. So it is there's some mom witch implications here. And Udi's next question, and we're gonna start with you, Aaron. We're gonna leave on this one because it's convoluted. I really want to know your guys' opinion because we're torn a little bit. Some of us think that she is a witch, some of us think she isn't. The voodoo dolls or whatever they are. Um, so voodoo is not the craft. Voodoo is something totally different than being a witch. But she does have these very bizarre dolls. So I'm curious what everybody's opinion is on the dolls, the symbolism of them, and what they're for.
Yeah, I have no idea. Whenever she first talked about the dolls and like would she keep the one doll that had the X out eyes, I was like, that's kind of creepy. And then I watched the show and there was this little like it was just a sitcom, nothing scary, but there was a doll left on this person's porch and they were like, voodoo dolls. I was like, what a coincidence. But yeah, I don't know. I think the dolls were definitely creepy. I feel like they were meant to be creepy. So I feel like they have some sort of connection to the story, especially because she's supposed to take one to the island with her. And I also thought, like, what a coincidence that she went to the storage unit, selected that doll without even hearing that she was supposed to take one, right? Didn't she do that first?
Mhm.
And then her dad said, you have to take a doll with you. And I was like, that was kind of weird that she picked it, even though she was creeped out by it.
And buried it in
So,
her closet. She was so
yeah,
disturbed by the energy of it. Yeah, I think it's very weird that she took it home.
yes.
These dolls have some serious symbolism. So, Emily, did you get any vibe from or any thoughts on the dolls and why her mom has them?
So it's really weird on why there would be two. Like usually when you have something like that, it's a matter of one side of the doll is like the person, and the other side may have X'd out eyes and like things like that. So usually it's a two-sided doll. So it's weird that there are two separate dolls. I don't know the symbolism of it. And like I said in the chat, I've read ahead and it's not clear which doll she took with her when
Mm,
she left. So even though I've gotten further and she's where I am, she goes to the island like she's supposed to. And something happens with the doll, but you still don't know which doll she took.
yeah.
Did she
And
take
what
the one with the X'd out eyes or did she take the one with that's the real eyes? No clue.
Something's weird with the ear with the XL eyes doll,
Yes,
and
it also
something with the
has.
mouth.
Yes, yes. So it has all these
That's a
things kind
creepy
of like
doll.
wrong with it, the creepy doll. And she says like she feels her own ear and like her ears are normal and she like has to feel her mouth and her eyes and like she's normal. She's all there. She
Yeah.
doesn't look like this creepy doll.
But she has
So I don't know.
connection to it. She has connection to it because she's like trying to feel herself to make sure she's,
Yeah.
it's,
Like that she's whole. Yeah, it's weird. It's weird. She talks about dreams and things like that too. So it makes me wonder why her mother would have or create a doll that looked that way.
yeah,
Yeah, and I'm very curious. I don't know what the symbolism of it is unless it's to bind, from a magical standpoint, if it's to bind her so that she cannot see magic, hear magic, or speak it.
oh my God. Yeah.
So if it's to ward it off and to keep her from seeing anything to protect her because she knows what her daughter is capable truly of. Because if Joe is capable of what I think she is capable of, then she is a rare and very powerful witch.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Interesting. Very interesting. When did you get any feeling from the doll?
I was wondering if maybe her mom did also dabble in some voodoo. I wondered if that was even a possibility because I mean her mom's not a natural, I don't know if she's a natural witch or not, and she's dabbling in that. Maybe she's also dabbling in voodoo. And maybe that has something to do with it, maybe, or maybe what Emily said, that's a really fascinating way to think of it, to protect Joe from that because maybe bind her powers. That's a really good idea. I like that.
I didn't even catch that. I didn't even, I'm like, why is the ear in the mouth and the eye? I didn't even, it didn't even occur. I was just so disturbed by the doll. So thank you so much for being able to remove the emotion from it, Emily, and be able to see what this really was. I think you're onto something. Jameson, how about you? What are your thoughts on these bizarre things?
I, being a witch myself, my immediate thought was that the dolls were to bind her magic, like to keep her magic in check so that people didn't discover it. I find it really interesting that they don't tell you which doll she took with her to the island, though, because that, I mean, like that seems important. And I'm sure maybe we'll find out. But my immediate thought was that her mom probably is not a natural witch, but that she's done some sort of binding spell to protect Joe.
I think that's, yeah, I think that's totally possible. Um, Karen, how about you?
So I was only introduced to the dolls when she went. I felt like she actually purposely went back to the storage unit. It said it she felt drawn to go back, even though she had packed everything up in the cars that she found the dolls. So yes, I don't know much more about them, but it was very kind of creepy.
Unnerving, unnerving. What are these dolls and why are they here?
Right.
And were they let? My thought was, did somebody get in here and it's her mom didn't leave it? Was my first instinct, but this is all making much more sense. Melissa, how about you?
I did not have any theories on the dolls, but I really like the theory that it's a binding protection.
Hmm.
I think
Yeah,
that's
it just
neat.
I I I see that and I think there's validity to that as well, but the nefarious feelings that Joe gets from the doll as a witch and her instincts, it makes me wonder like why do these give her such a bad vibe? Maybe she just doesn't want her magic, maybe that's something she doesn't not aware of. But Nikki, did you have any thoughts?
Um, I don't know if you guys can see me. I'm having issues with my computer over here.
Oh, it's okay. I can hear you good. We just can't see you, but we can hear you.
Okay. I definitely agree with pretty much the binding of Joe. My first instinct when I first read about it was immediately like I thought Coraline, but that's because probably because my daughter makes me watch it all the time. but I definitely agree with the yeah, using it to bind her spells to protect her. Like that makes sense to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I do know that you can feel the energy of someone trying to bind you, Emily. That is a really good point. Udi, how about you?
Yeah, I definitely got those dolls give me the creeps. I want to know more significance. I want to know if we're all right about that because I do feel that it's to bind her, to keep her from showing too much,
It's just
to get noticed.
I find it so interesting because all binding spells, in my experience, are like protective and white light and like use white thread and they're around pictures or an item or something like this. These dolls just seem so icky to me. Binding says to be protective and doesn't feel protective, but I think you guys really are all onto something. I'm real curious what Robin
That could be because she is not a born witch and she's a learned witch. She's
doesn't
going to
know.
what she doesn't know. She doesn't have that natural white light. So she has to go to what she can, and that's what she can do. That's
Yeah.
my thoughts.
Oh, what if she went to like a consultant or something and got dark mat? Okay. I'm spinning. Robin, how about you?
So I was kind of on the same page with you with I don't think that I don't think she did them. I think she got them. And I actually originally thought that it was not to keep her from manifesting the magic, but to keep her from experiencing magic. Um, and like that kind of goes back to what I was talking about, the way she's like, you kind of get this feeling, or I did, this feeling from her mom that she wants to discount this idea of witches in general and make people see that it's not about the witchcraft, it's about oppression of women. And so I wondered if she she did this or she got this. Sorry. You're fine. That she got this or she did this as a way to kind of like open her daughter's eyes to the oppression, as opposed to like this is something we need to fight back, but it's not about this, it's about us being female and being held down because of that. Yeah. So that was my on it.
I really like the things that you said in the chat about the undertones of biopic women and what that does to Josephine as a person and where she's coming from. And it's very eye-opening that you picked up on it because no one here has that point of view. So I really appreciate you adding that in the chat.
Yeah, well, and I also noticed that like at the very beginning, someone says to her that she identifies as black. She does not identify as mixed or anything else. And so I think she gets that very much, has pulled that identity from her mom.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's very fascinating, especially since the author is, in that genre of people. So, Stephanie, how about you? The dolls, do they feel bad? Do they feel cursed?
I thought the dolls were kind of creepy. I didn't necessarily jump when I read it to voodoo, but I thought it was more like what everybody else said, like a binding, a protection. I think her mom doesn't want her to have magic.
Yeah.
And her mom also is really into the feminist thing.
Yes, very
and
much
how
so.
women are and how they're oppressed. So I think she's just trying to protect her from any type of magic because she knows that it's going to be a tough life for her and she doesn't want her to have to go through that.
Yeah, you really touched on a really cool thing. This book is actually one of the only books that is intersectional feminism. So it includes LGBT and also all different types of races. So it's usually, unfortunately, white women who are considered feminists, but this is intersectional feminism. So I thought it was interesting. Tara, how about you?
I didn't think anything of the dolls at all when I read it.
Really? Did they
Um,
bother you?
no, but
Okay.
I like now that everybody's talking about this whole binding thing, I think that makes a lot of sense. So now I'm starting to think about, yeah, maybe that was something that she did. But when I read it, it was just like, okay, keep going.
Oh my God, the dolls messed me up. I don't know. I saw a very bad doll movie when I was little, so maybe that's it. Horror movie, I don't know, but I don't like the feeling of them. Tiff, how about you?
Tara, that's so funny because I literally read them and I was just like reading along and I was like, and it's like, and bring a doll. And I was like, oh, okay, yeah, cool. And I just like moved on from it. Like, didn't even think about anything. Yeah, like
Bad about it.
I was just
Like
like,
even though she
I'm bought
buried it
into
in her
it.
closet, that she like put it and she felt bad towards them and put it, you didn't, still didn't,
No,
I
I
think
was just
something's
like,
wrong
yeah.
with these dolls.
But I also think, because like they had just discussed like all the cursed objects that she's around like in the museum and stuff like that. So it just made me think that that was maybe another cursed object. Um
That though
and
brings up a really good point. She
yeah,
doesn't feel bad when she's around cursed objects, but she feels bad around those dolls.
yeah.
Oh, I don't know. Okay, so now that we've had everybody's feedback, we are going to read until the end of chapter 23. So when you get to 24 is where you're going to stop. And I gave us a little bit more meat this time and left the end a little smaller because the end meetings take us a little longer. So we'll see how that goes this time. And I'll put that in the post on Facebook. But does anybody have anything they want to add or contribute left over that we didn't touch upon? No? Oh, yay. Okay, well, it's so great being here with you guys tonight. Happy reading, love and light. Don't mess with any voodoo dolls. I love you all. See you later. Bye.